creating a culture of accountability is one of the most important things that a CEO does. We bring CEOs together all the time, every month, to talk about this topic. How do we develop a culture of accountability in our firm to achieve what we want to achieve our vision, to get us where we want to go? And so there's 5 things that are critical to really developing a culture of accountability. It does start with the CEO. The CEO has to hold themselves accountable and have other people holding them accountable. Having a mentor, having a peer group, is important to really hold the CEO accountable. And the CEO has to hold themselves accountable. It starts there. If the CEO says, we are going to do this next Thursday afternoon, and it doesn't happen, well, developing a culture of accountability is going to be awfully difficult, because they're going to look at the CEO and say, well, look, they didn't do what they said they were going to do. You've got to walk the talk. You've got to achieve your goals for the next 90 days, for the next year. You've got to achieve them if you want others to achieve them. So a couple things that are really important beyond that. And one is, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. Because the plan, and you got to find a way to boil the plan, the strategic plan, on how you're going to achieve your vision. You got to find a way to boil that down into a very simple communication tool. And it can be a one-page business plan. It can be a graphic design with all the key components of the plan on that, so that you can communicate it to every employee clearly. It's important that every employee knows this is this company's plan, this is where we're going, this is our vision, this is our plan to get there. Starts there. I'm shocked at the number of businesses that don't have a meaningful strategic plan. One of my first questions, do you have a strategic plan? Oh, yes, but we haven't really, it's really out of date. We haven't looked at it for 3 or 4 years. We should probably update it. Yes, you should probably update it. You can't have a culture of accountability without a meaningful plan, okay? A roadmap of how you're going to get there. Then the second thing that is really important is that everybody on your team knows what they're doing in that overall plan. How am I going to help the company achieve that plan, okay? And that gets back to what we call quarterly priorities management. Coming up with the top 5 activities that each person on your team and you have to achieve that plan. So what are your strategic priorities for the next 90 days to move us as an organization closer to the plan? And it's critical. It's a very important communication tool, because then you're going to get together every month as a team and talk about how each person's doing on their top 5. And you see where the overlaps are, you see where people are having problems, and it's a great opportunity for the team to help each other get to where they want to go with each one of their priorities. If you've got 6 people on your management team and they've got their top 5 priorities plus yours, okay, you've got the top 35 priorities for the organization, and you're getting together every month on a regular basis to talk about that. So it's a huge thing around developing a culture of accountability. The other thing is, Dan, you sit down every month with each member of your team and talk about how they're doing with their top 5 priorities that are moving you closer to your goal and to your strategic plan. And it's a great way to really hold people accountable for what you want them to achieve. The other thing is there have to be consequences. In terms of in a culture of accountability, there have to be consequences if over time people are not achieving what you really want them to achieve. So it's a tough conversation, but at the end of the day, you have to set the bar high. Like in this company, we achieve our goals. Like we have a culture of accountability here. We help each other, but you know, at the end of the day, you've got to achieve what you set out to achieve. And so from time to time, and I think it's rare, but from time to time, as the CEO, you've got to deal with the consequences of someone that just isn't right. They're not able to achieve. Doesn't mean they can't achieve in another part of your organization, but in that particular role, they're just not the right person. And as the CEO, you got to make that tough choice. And then the last thing, as I mentioned earlier, is really who holds the CEO accountable. And you know, in some cases that's the board, in some cases that's other owners of the business. In my experience, the best way is for the CEO to have a group of CEOs, other CEOs, who are non-competing CEOs, who are really going to check your backswing and hold you accountable to developing a culture of accountability, among many other things. But that's one thing that a mentor and a group of CEOs will hold you accountable to, is developing that culture of accountability. Absolutely critical.